Jim, that's the issue. I don't feel like I'm experiencing married bliss with you. I think we have some things to work through. We need to talk about some stuff. No, dear. I need to get to work early for an assignment. I might be home late, too. This project is very important to the company. Oh, hello, Jim. Are you ready to work on the project? Anytime you ask. I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about something. I love Jim, but I think something is up. This project has lasted a long time, and he seems to be staying longer and longer. I hope his boss isn't working him too hard. Thank you so much for your help on the project, dear. Why, it wouldn't have been possible without you, Jim. You truly are really valuable to this company. Life wouldn't be the same without you. How is your wife? Does she suspect anything? No, I told her I was in married bliss, and she seemed to believe me. She always gets so picky over the small things in life. I don't know what she wants from me. Of course, that must be so hard for you. Well, yes, it does get tiring. I never know what she wants. I wish she would just tell me what she wants. It's nothing like being around you. You're so easy to work with. That's so kind of you to say. You really are too nice. I really value how you helped me on this project. No one else can do it the way you do. Oh, you flatter me. I just show up every day and try my best. I want you to know that I see you showing up and doing amazing, and I want you to know I'm always here for you whenever you need anything. You have my personal phone number, and I want you to use it. Oh my, I really do appreciate the kind gesture. I really do need a shoulder to lean on during these difficult times at home. You know I'm always here. I work so hard in this home. I make delicious meals. I keep the place clean. I do all the housework for both of us. I don't know why Jim can't understand that. He never acknowledges what I do for our home and what I do for him. When Jim asked me to marry him, I had a choice. Settle down early and take an uninteresting job to help provide for us, or turn him down and take the opportunity to follow my dreams and really find my life's purpose. I thought if I chose Jim, I would find another life's purpose in being married to him. But for the last 5 years, I have found nothing but the pain of being taken for granted and unappreciated. I am a sock of value, and I deserve love and respect just as much as I did before I settled down. Frankly, Jim wasn't my first choice in a sock, and he wasn't my second either. I could have definitely married one of those compression socks that are so supportive. Ah well, it's in the past now. There's nothing I can do about it, and it wouldn't be very becoming to hold hostility towards my husband. Things could get woolly. I wonder when he will be home. It's getting so late. He keeps doing this, but it's no use to worry. He's a very important part of his company. Do you really have to go now? Don't you have time for one more meeting for the project? I have to go. My wife will be worrying at home. She always badgers me with questions when I'm 3 hours late, and I don't know how this project excuse is going to hold out. One of these days, the thread will snap. Goodbye. It won't be long until tomorrow, my dear. you are. I was beginning to think something was wrong. I was getting so worried.
As always, Kelsey, it's just this big project at work. They really need me to stay and help. I'm the only one who does it right. You know how important this job is to me.
Yes, but Jim, what I've been trying to tell you is that it seems to be more important than me. You're hardly ever home. You always leave early and get home late. I mean, what takes 3 hours that can't be done tomorrow? That's almost a whole second workday. I don't know if it's legal for them to keep you this long.
Kelsey, my dear, stop worrying. I volunteer to help because I'm the best man for the job. You can't really think worrying with the company isn't worth my time. I need to stay in good standing. This is a great way for me to make advances in the future.
But what about our future? How can we continue to maintain a relationship when you're not here? And when you are here, you have no energy left for me in our home. Do you think your dishes get washed magically? Or your clothes just never get dirty? I don't feel appreciated, Jim, and I want you to start doing your part. This household is made of 2 people, but it feels like one.
Kelsey, I really can't deal with your drama here. I have a big commitment at work that requires most of my attention, and if you aren't going to support me there, I at least need you to not barrage me with the blame game. A man can only do so many things at once.
Fine, I see where your priorities are. Perhaps my commitment to my job will become more important as well. Then who will take care of you in the house?
I don't care as long as it gets done.
Ah! Ah! You don't understand anything. That's it. I'm going to bed.
Are you stuck on what to get the love of your life for Valentine's Day? Do you feel like you're drifting apart due to life's tumultuous changes? Renew your love together with a new set from marksjewelry.com. These are the perfect gift for the person in your life that you want to feel special. We now feature new couple designs with matching rings that are perfect for a pair of 2. Get your anniversary engraved on the inside of the bands to perfectly commemorate the occasion. Shop now at marksjewelry.com or at one of our in-person locations.
So today I'm actually going to be talking about traveling, as my background says, vivacious voyages. I do a lot of traveling, so I was like, we'll just talk about that, easy enough. So traveling can go any direction, really. It depends on what you're looking for. Whether you're in the country, outside the country, you can think about things like cost, the benefits versus flying and driving, where you're going to stay at night when you're driving, that kind of stuff. You know, you can make new connections, see new things, experience new things, try things you haven't even tried before. Like I got to kayak, canoe, I've hiked, I've done, I almost said skydiving. I haven't gone skydiving yet, but I have done zip lining and on my stomach. So there's plenty of things you can do that way that you've never tried before by just traveling. So I guess I'll just start about costs. So you have to consider costs no matter where you're going, no matter what you're doing. There's always going to be a cost, whether it's through gas, it's through plane tickets, it doesn't matter what it is. You're pretty much always going to be spending something if you're on the road. So when we drive, we started out with a trailer you can pull behind, usually, like, depending on your car, like a van maybe if you're lucky, depending on the model. Trucks are usually the go-to. But we used to have a trailer, not that long, maybe 30 feet, I'm going to guess, but it was a long time ago. Then we moved up to a fifth wheel once we got more experience, which is pulled by, you know, your usual trucks, or even I've seen people use semi-trucks to pull big fifth wheels, and you can usually tell when they're longer and more heavy-duty based on the amount of wheels they have attached on the back. Sometimes it's like a double set. Sometimes you'll see 6 on one side, 6 on another in the back. It really depends. Because you also have to account for weight when you're driving. And then there are RVs. So RVs vary in type, you know, there's different classes, they call them. So you got Class A, Class B, Class C, and then they run off of different kinds of gas. So we have, I believe, a diesel one, and it's about maybe 40 feet. We got it back in 2015, and we got it brand new. We've put over 100,000 miles on it by just driving everywhere. So I'm only 19 right now, and I've been to almost every state in the country, which isn't something a lot of people can say, unfortunately, and I wish a lot more people could, because I've learned a lot by doing this, and thanks to my parents. I've had a lot of people say that, oh, you're so rich and stuff if you're able to do that. It's not about that, and leading into the, like, costs, it's about how you budget your money, how you use it in your day-to-day lives to put it towards your trips. And a lot of people ask about that and how you do it, or, you know, saying, oh, you've got to be rich. That's not what it is. I know people that will waste money on anything, whether it's like physical objects or just trips that are like a one-time deal kind of thing where you fly out for a week and it's like super expensive and you never get to do it again for another like decade, if ever. And by going places in an RV, you're able to stay at, sometimes, depending on the place, cheaper places, and you can see a lot more by doing so because you're driving through all the states or the countries to get to wherever it is you're going. So we went to Seattle, Washington just last summer as well, which was awesome. Never been up there, but it took us 5 whole days to drive. And we actually had to drive through some of the wildfires as well when we were out west. So something I've never seen before. We were right up in the smoke, you know. There were police blocking off the roads because the fire was like right, not even a mile away. It was like right there. You could see some of it. And you get to see things that you would never imagine. I mean, I've seen the craziest things, whether it was in a national park or on the beach, whether it was a person, a thing, you don't know what you're going to see. So when you budget properly and you delegate your money in the right places and everything, you don't have to spend a lot to go somewhere. Mostly gas is probably your biggest worry if you're trying to get to and from somewhere, and then where you're staying. So what we do when we're driving if we're going somewhere that takes longer than a day, we will stop at maybe a Walmart or Cracker Barrel overnight, and you call ahead of time sometimes or check online, and you can stay overnight usually and then just keep going the next day. We usually would get food at the Cracker Barrels and stuff, but it's great because it lets you do a lot more and you can drive a lot longer. It's easier, and especially in an RV like we have, we're able to just stay in there, do all of our business there, and then go. So a lot of it does come down to how much you're spending, how you're budgeting, and that's probably one of the most important parts as well as planning. So there's a lot of different factors, and I'll be talking about it going forward as well. But my first point is definitely going to be budgeting and your costs. Thank you.
I'm going to be reading Reddit stories for y'all. So, the story we have today, am I the a-hole for refusing to donate my kidney to my dying sister because she got with my high school bully?
I think I've heard this one.
Throwaway, because this is a lot more personal information than I want on my main. All names are fake, though. Also, F mobile formatting. I'm a 35-year-old gay man. When I was in high school, I was bullied severely by Darren. I won't go into the details, but it was really bad, past the point of typical high school douchebaggery. In my sophomore year, I made the mistake of coming out to one of my friends, who promptly spread this information around the school. Before this, Darren had targeted me for being unathletic and wearing glasses, and had done this to a couple other kids as well. But after I was outed, it was only me and only because of my sexuality. After high school, I moved away for college. I made friends, even got a boyfriend, and pretty much forgot about Darren, until one Thanksgiving, my sister Ellie brought home her boyfriend, Darren. No joke, the first thing he said when he saw me was, "Dang, Ellie, you didn't tell me your brother's an F-slur."
Oh.
Ellie laughed, as did my dad. I was kind of stunned, but I didn't yell or start a fight. I just got up and walked out. After the fact, my family tried to play it off as Darren was joking because he was nervous meeting the family, and they told me that he and Ellie were serious, so I had to get over it. I just told them all that I wouldn't be attending any event where Darren was. In private, I told Ellie that I felt hurt that she'd date Darren, knowing what he did to me. She basically called me too sensitive and told me she has the right to date whoever she likes, which, yeah, she does. Since then, I've been putting distance between myself and my family, who seem to have readily accepted Darren into the fold. Recently, my mom reached out to tell me that Ellie was in the hospital and needed a kidney transplant. The rest of the family had been tested and none could donate, and my mom wanted me to get tested because I'm her full brother with a high likelihood of a match. The thing is, after all these years, Ellie is basically a stranger to me. If I were to do this, I'd have to drive 3 states back to my hometown, miss who knows how much work, and give up a piece of my flesh, all for the woman who dated and eventually married the guy who made my high school days a living hell. I told my mom that I wouldn't be getting tested, and she freaked out at me over the phone. I quickly hung up on her, but before I did, I heard her call me vindictive and a monster for refusing to save my sister's life. I admit I feel guilty about it. Am I the asshole?
You know, I think that's like the second or third time I've heard that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's still hard to say because it's like, you don't know every past experience
Exactly.
with that sibling.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's hard to say it's based off of just solely that experience as well.
For sure.
I don't know. I mean, I get where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but also it really just depends, I think, on how their relationship is outside of that specific situation in their past. Because, I mean, sure, my sister and I have fought a lot, as siblings do, but I don't know, I would definitely, I think, give her mine, but that's because we don't hit each other's guts all the time.
Yeah.
And we haven't done anything that would be like, you know, you're out of my life.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, like, I've never even experienced bullying to, like, that
Right.
extent.
Yeah.
So, like, I
especially
wouldn't
in a
even know.
family like
That's
that.
the thing. I wouldn't know what I would do if, like, the bully then got married into my family and I had to consider them.
Like, is
a
there other
family member.
options for the kidney and stuff? That's the real question. Like,
I know, that's the thing.
is there any other possible donors? Because if there is, like, maybe even like a close friend or something, you know, could get tested or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know what the other
Yeah,
people are
I'm not,
saying.
like, quite sure what
Right.
a kidney thing would be.
Is anyone else
like, defined
saying
one.
what
There was a comment, top comment, fun fact, in the U.S. at least, if you go to get tested but you tell the doctor that you are being coerced, they will say you are not a match, which
Ooh.
is awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool
that's
that they do
smart.
that, just
I
in
like that.
case.
Because it does happen, actually, a lot.
Yeah. And then somebody replied, I've also heard on Reddit that if you can get someone, friend or family, to voluntarily donate a kidney into the system to match with someone else in need, then they will find someone whose donor matches you.
Okay.
There's something called the Kidney Paired Donation Pilot Program. So there
So
is
there are
a way.
options. It's just maybe, I don't know how long the list is because I know
That's
like
the thing, is
in
that
general organ
organs
donations
Take
are
forever.
rough because
So.
there's not enough ever or, you know, matches and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's other readily available options, I'd say you don't have to.
Yeah. And I think,
And like I said, I don't know the situation prior to that or outside of that
yeah, and I think
specific
it's,
scenario that they
yeah, and I think it's too complicated to necessarily
right
feel
to
guilty.
make a good judgment on and stuff too.
Yeah,
It's just-
like whatever OP decides to do, I think is right
yeah.
for him.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just putting their needs before everything else. Because if somebody's absolutely terrible, you know, you shouldn't have to put yourself out of the way like that if
Especially
they've
because, like,
ruined you
you're
like
still
that.
getting surgery.
Right,
If you are giving up
exactly.
an
You have to
organ,
go
you'll
through the
still be
surgery
getting
itself and
surgery.
then the recovery process and
Yeah.
then you're down a kidney and stuff.
exactly.
Is kidneys the one that regrow as well or something?
They don't regrow,
'Cause
no.
I know there's one that once
Your body can
like if you take like half of
live
it,
without
it will
one.
like grow half of it back or something. I don't remember which. I don't know. I was
Um,
watching a medical show the other day.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it, but
Grey's Anatomy, you learned
maybe.
about kidneys.
But
But yeah, I mean, I think this is unbelievably complicated, and
say.
I think whatever OP decides to do is
Yeah.
best for him. Thanks.
Thank
That's
you.
our story this week.
Bye.
Bye.
Good morning, and welcome to the first episode of Morning Glory. In this segment of the show, I'll read a short devotional from a daily devotional book titled New Morning Mercies by David Paul Tripp. And let's see, I'm just reading from June 3rd. It's not June 3rd, but I liked the messaging in here that even though we humans mess up every single day, His grace abounds, and He has paid the debt that we owed by humbling Himself to the point of carrying the sins of the world to the cross where He was crucified. Philippians 2:8 says, "And being found in human form, He humbled Himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even the death on the cross." Whether or not we accept that gift is up to us. So the heading on this devotional says, "It would be amazing if a God of awesome glory recognized our existence, but for Him to welcome us into His family is grace beyond amazing." It is just so incredible, so counterintuitive, and so beyond anything else in our experience that it is very hard for us to wrap our brains around its majesty. There is no human being so creative and so imaginative as to be able to pen such a story. You can read the story in Scripture and still not be blown away by its glory because you just don't have categories to understand its depth and breadth. In fact, it takes what this story is about for you to fully understand what the story is about. Only the gift of divine grace is able to help you grasp even a portion of divine grace. The expansiveness of God's initiative of grace is so beautiful and transformational that it is the reason John Newton chose the best qualifying word, amazing, when he penned his famous hymn about that grace. Think about it. No human being ever kept God's law except Jesus. No one has ever given God the honor due His name. No one has lived the life of worship that is the duty and calling of everyone who has ever taken a breath. All people have not only rebelled against God, but they have written their own sets of self-oriented rules. Everyone not only has failed to worship God, but also has worshipped false gods. Every human being not only has failed to recognize the centrality of God in all things, but also has inserted himself or herself in God's position. Everyone not only occasionally breaks one or another of God's laws, but we all in some way have broken all of His laws. Not only do we misuse God's creation, but we put it in God's place and give it the worship that belongs to Him. So in the face of the depth and heinous character of all of our rebellion against God and His glory, it would be amazing if we were not exterminated. It would be an act of wondrous grace for God to recognize that we exist. But He has done so much, much more than this. By means of the life, death, and resurrection of His Son, He has made a way for us to be welcomed into an intimate, familial relationship with Him. He literally adopts us into His family so that, quite apart from anything we could ever have deserved, we are given the full range of rights and privileges of children. And not only are we granted those things in the here and now, but we are blessed with them forever and ever. Along with this, He has promised us the final end of all sin, sickness, sorrow, and suffering that a rebellion brought down on this world. So grace lets you have it all, everything that you need. Grace makes the King of Kings your Father and His Savior Son your brother. Now that really is beyond amazing. Pray for eyes to see it and a heart to embrace it, and then let your soul soar. And then on the footnote here it says, for further study and encouragement, read Ephesians 1:15 through 23. And that is all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in.